Okay, we apologize for being a couple of minutes late here. But the live stream went down just as we were getting ready to go on. But we're on now. The stream is back up and hopefully it will stay up. And we want to welcome you to Prairie Views. This is our fourth episode. And today's guest, we have Nick Voss, who is our Chief Technology Officer. And Nick, why don't you just tell people briefly what a technology officer is? What do you do?
Yeah, it's a great question. Thanks, Gabe. I am happy to be here today. As the CTO at Prairie, I'm kind of responsible for everything in the IT realm. My background is in IT management largely, but also in software development. So, I started in software and I've kind of worked in hardware and across the board in all of the different spaces that IT has. So, there's a variety of different fields that I kind of dipped my toes in, so to speak. So I tend to be really responsible here for taking a look at our emerging technologies and how Prairie might leverage those technologies to be a little bit more unique in our industry and give us that competitive advantage over some of our other firms that are out there vying for some of the same projects. I'm trying to create a space that is very flexible for our work environment. I'm trying to create new tools and processes that work across the board. And I'm trying to do it in a secure fashion. So a big focus on our efforts is in information security now, and that's definitely my realm.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you couldn't tell, for an engineering firm that does the kind of work we do, the clients we do that for, IT and security is mission critical. So as you can imagine, Nick and his team, very, very important to what we do here at Prairie. So Nick, what's something that your friends or family that you wish they understood about your job, but they just don't get it?
Yeah, it's kind of amazing. I think everybody that I talk to expects that I'm going to be able to fix every electronic device that they have. And as it turns out, I just don't know that much about fixing your electronics anymore. I'm almost certainly useless at fixing a printer. I definitely can't work with an Android phone. I'm completely out of the that particular realm. I think people forget that IT is, and like a lot of fields, certainly a lot of engineering fields, very, very specialized. So I have a lot of knowledge that is really focused on the types of things that Prairie does and the types of hardware that we use, the types of software that we use, again, the very specific processes that we use, and certainly in my former career positions as well. So those areas of focus are what I'm really good at, as opposed to maybe these wider reaching issues. So what I can encourage all of my friends and family and my coworkers and everybody else that ask those questions is do what I would do, which is become very good at using Google.
Right. Yep. Ask Google. Well, I found that I can find out how to do a lot of things by watching YouTube videos. There's so many how-to on
Absolutely.
YouTube. You can pretty much figure out just about anything. So
You got it. And if you're confident, go after it.
yeah, for sure. So if you could work on any dream project for you look like.
So that's a great question. I've worked on a variety of projects from software development to hardware implementation and installation. And the thing that I would really like to be able to do is work on a custom ERP solution, something that's comprehensive. So like I've built software that does accounts receivable and accounts payable and client management and document control and document integration and all sorts of different things. But I've never put together a system that is like fully comprehensive. And I think the challenge there is that those types of solutions are daunting in their nature, right? They could just cover so much of an organization and the organization's processes. But what I personally find is that most enterprise software like that is frustrating for users because it's not tailored to the very specific things that are happening within one organization. So I would love to spend time putting together a solution from sort of the nuts and bolts that are out there and a lot of open source tools that would be really, really tuned into what an organization's doing. I think that'd be really cool. Super dorky, but really cool.
Well, would we expect anything less than a dorky answer from an IT guy? I mean,
Probably
really?
not.
So if you could switch roles with anybody at Prairie Engineers for a day, who would you want to switch roles with and why?
I think I would switch with one of the hydro guys. that's probably going to be a common answer, I think, on Prairie Views is the hydro guys because they're out there on the river, right? Who doesn't want to be cruising down the Mississippi with a drink in hand? Wait, are we talking about work or are we getting into something else? I don't know, but I would definitely like to do that. I'd like to try my hand at being on the boat, and those guys have some really interesting sensors that they work with that gather a lot of large data that's used to map the riverbed, and it's super interesting. And I don't have a lot of familiarity with the hardware. I certainly don't have familiarity with driving a boat. I don't have familiarity with anything that happens on the river, and I really think that would be an interesting way to spend a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I do too. And you aren't the first person. I think Bill Whitlow answered that way too, our MEP discipline lead. Bill said, yeah, being out on the river with the hydrographic surveyors would be a really cool job for it. And just a little teaser, I did get a video today, as a matter of fact, from Tristan Harper, one of our guys that's out on a boat on the Chicago River in the middle of Chicago today, doing some work. So for those of you that are watching, keep an eye on our LinkedIn page here later today or maybe tomorrow. You'll probably see some pretty cool stuff that our hydrographic surveyors are doing. If there was a movie made about your career, uh, what would the title be, and who would be cast as you?
Yeah, so I think it would definitely be Deadpool versus Wolverine. That feels like my life story, and Hugh Jackman would totally play me. That makes perfect sense. Um, no, no, and in all seriousness, though, I think something like from software to soft skills, right? Like I've done a lot of software development, and I think every evaluation that I've ever had done through the years has said just keep working on those soft skills. Just keep getting better at managing people and keep getting better at having communication with people. And I hope I'm doing better at that at this point. But I'll keep working on it. And in the meantime, my movie can be like that, and it can still star Hugh Jackman because I have every intention of being him when I grow up.
I love it. Um, so give us maybe a little bit of advice. Maybe somebody's watching or is going to watch the recording who's thinking about applying at Prairie and wanting to work at our company. What advice would you have for someone having that consideration to work at Prairie?
Yeah, I think take your time, talk to people. I know during my interview process at Prairie, one of the things that was offered was just take a look at our website, reach out to anybody on the website and talk to somebody. I think you do that and you'll get a really good feel for what Prairie is and the types of work that we do, certainly within the discipline that you're looking at, but even outside of the discipline you're looking at, right? You're going to work with these folks cross-functionally in some fashion, or they're just going to be people that you're going to work with and have around you in your office, perhaps, that you're going to talk with and socialize with and spend a lot of time with. So I'd encourage people to talk to other people that are on staff and get a sense of what Prairie is. I think you'll, generally find that our folks are friendly and open. I think they're genuine, and it's just really important as you're looking at your career that you make good choices. You don't want to be in a position where you find that you're not really in a good fit. This just isn't the right company culture for you, and then you're jumping jobs. Like that looks terrible on your resume. It just makes it harder as you go forward. So take the time, talk to people, get confident about Prairie. And I think you'll find that this is a great place that will encourage growth, encourage your personal development, encourage your professional development, and be fun at the same time. So I hope you'll find those things, but definitely reach out and talk to us.
Yeah, I know that's what I did when I was being considered for employment. I asked who I could reach out and talk to, and honestly, they said, "Who do you want to talk to?"
Yeah.
And I took advantage of that. Had really good conversations with several key people in the organization before I made the decision, and it was super helpful. So that's great advice. Um, Kind of staying in that same vein, like what kind of professional do you think fits best at Prairie? Like what kind of employee fits best in our culture?
I sort of glibly want to say like anyone, right? Like anybody could fit at Prairie, but that's kind of nonsense because not everyone fits in every organization. I think Prairie is really great for people who are growing and want to continue to grow and want to be encouraged to grow. We certainly put a lot of value on licensure in different states and pursuing professional development, and certainly because it helps us market ourselves. But I think because genuinely we want to get better all the time. So I would say that for like on the IT side, we have a lot of different specialties that we could be focusing in. And so like information security, software development, integration, end user support, servers and networking, purchasing, process development. There's a lot of things that sort of cross section there. Automation is everywhere. So, but what that says to me is we're not a huge organization. The reality is that we fit really well with people who want to work in a variety of spaces. They're interested in that variety of spaces, and that's true in IT. But I think it's also true within our disciplines. We've got a broad-reaching set of work that we do and a broad-reaching set of skills, and I think we try to make all that fit. But it is great when people are willing to wear some different hats and learn some things and try some new things. So somebody who's really willing to do that is super.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely agree, and I like the size we're at right now. Not that we don't want to grow, and we obviously we do. That's a big goal for the company, but I like that there is a lot of interaction between a lot of different people and a lot of different disciplines, and I think that bodes well for people who really want. They don't want to be, doing the same widget every day, right? They want to get their hands dirty in a lot of different types of projects and clients,
Yeah.
and this is a great space for that.
Absolutely. This is not a place I think where you're going to get trapped in bureaucracy. And it's not a place where you're going to have a list of like, here's the 10 things you must do it exactly this way every time. There's a lot of fluidity in what we're doing and a lot of exciting new things that are happening all the time. So folks who are excited by that kind of work, I think will really enjoy it here.
So what kind of maybe project or even just work task are you most proud of since you've been at Prairie?
Yeah, I think we've implemented several new things in the 3 years that I've been here. The one that I'm most proud of is the new file system Ignite. So we had come from a more traditional file system approach that was synchronized across our different locations. And this switch decentralized our file system in a large way. And as a consulting firm that's ultimately developing content that's delivered to our clients, our file system is a key part of what we do. So this sort of change allows us to expand into new spaces and have people working from home or small offices or large offices remotely for whatever reason while they're on vacation without having complex VPNs and things. And what I've seen is just the basic functionality that has been so widely accepted with almost little, like almost no change control in place, like where I've had to like do a bunch of change management. I mean, and that's just been absolutely phenomenal to see happen. It's one of the best, I think, decisions I've made in my career in terms of like making a software selection. And it just seems to across the board have been a huge win. So I'm really excited to see that continue because they keep adding new features that we're going to be able to roll out and create new processes around, which is just very, very cool.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Um, so when did something maybe not go as planned or something that you were hoping to implement or a project that just kind of went off the rails? What did you learn from that experience?
Yeah, I mean, it happens all the time, right? Unfortunately, things don't quite go as we hope. We implemented a new CRM here at Prairie when in a little bit over a year after I had started, and it's not been a failure by any stretch of imagination. It implemented successfully. We use it today. We did it on time, on budget. The features are there, but I would say I kind of mentioned it before. Nobody really likes enterprise software, right? I think everybody is a little bit frustrated by it, and customer relationship management software is no um, no different. It definitely has that same sort of feeling for a lot of folks. But so what I really saw there is the difficulty around user adoption. Not that they're completely unwilling to use it, not by any stretch of the imagination, but just getting people to really enjoy and value that type of a tool has been exceedingly difficult. When we look at a goal of increased adoption and usage, that gets to be really hard in communicating value with the users. And so, what I really see from that, the learning experience I have there is the time that's spent doing change management is so valuable. If you want people to
Mhm.
actually use tools and understand why they're going to benefit their jobs, then it's absolutely critical. And so as we look at like AI tools and putting those types of things in place in the coming years and even in the past year, how do we really roll those out in a way that's going to be understandable to users how that's going to benefit their day-to-day job and not just another hassle and another thing that they have to learn. So a lot of
Right.
focus around that kind of change management is something that I have to be really, really conscious of. The other piece would be assumptions. I think it's really easy to make assumptions that, oh, these basic things are going to be there, and they're not. And like, how are you going to work around that? And so,
Mhm.
I think if we go into it with the knowledge that we're going to have to work around some things, things go a lot more smoothly than if we didn't make we did make some assumptions and they didn't go quite as smoothly, unfortunately. So, you live and learn.
Yeah, yeah, and I agree. I'm as a heavy user of our CRM, that change management is such an important and critical piece, and getting it right running into or leading up into what you're going to be doing. So, I have one rapid fire question for you because we're pretty close to time, and I'm going to just pick one. So the rapid fire question is: if you had all the money you needed, money was an object, what would your guilty pleasure purchase be?
Yeah. So, okay, this is awesome. I have one of my life goals is to travel at supersonic speeds. And I don't know how to make that happen since the Concorde isn't a thing anymore. But I have read about that they do like fighter jet type
Oh
flights that you
yeah.
can do, but they're really expensive. Like you could do them out of Russia and it's like MiG flights or something. It's 20 plus $1,000, some crazy money. But that would be absolutely amazing. I would totally love to do that.
I would be totally on board with that, and we would have to promise that wouldn't pass out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, thanks today, and I hope for those of you that have watched that you've gained something valuable. This is Prairie Views, where the engineers are strong, the surveyors are good looking, and the scientists are above average. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.